Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. I do a lot of videos on the unexplained phenomena, UFOs, that kind of thing, cryptids. Go check some of those out. This particular one I saw I've known about it for a while, but I saw a really good special on YouTube the other day about it, and it perked my interest because I found out some stuff I didn't know before. Um, for those of you who don't know, the Yoniguni Monument is a huge underwater complex, and it's southwest of Japan, and it was discovered in 1987. It's literally 5 miles of structures around the island of Yoniguni, and it's all underwater. It's under the ocean. Okay. Um, Many archaeologists dismiss this structure as natural, being a combination of seismic or volcanic activity and erosion. But if you look at it, they're steps. They're flat. They're 90 degrees. You know, you would. I can't see nature doing that. That's just me. I may be wrong. I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not a geologist or anything like that. But to me, that looks man-made. But many people argue with it, and there are many others believe that it it may be modified by man. In other words, they found the structure and they modified it, right? And some archaeologists will admit that there might be some carvings or stuff in there that and some of it may be natural, some of it may be man-made. They go back and forth. They banter back and forth. Um, here's the problem with it. In order for somebody to have carved on it, that means it had to be above the water. That didn't happen. They're because of that, they're estimating this thing to be between 8 and 15,000 years old. That's when this was up out of the water. Now, if only one thing on this whole 5 mile complex is man-made, it could rewrite history. And let me explain. I do a video on Göbekli Tepe. Go check that out. If this is man-made, and it is indeed 15,000 years old, it predates the Great Pyramid of Giza by 10,500 years. It predates Stonehenge by 10,000 years. It's right there. It predates Göbekli Tepe by as much as 3,400 years. Göbekli Tepe, we know, was man-made. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If this was man-made, this Y-O-N-A-G-U-N-I, Yoniguni, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If any of this was man-made, it had to be done between 8 and 15,000 years ago, when it was still up above the water. If it's 15,000 years old, it's older than Göbekli Tepe. And that pushes back the dawn of man even further. I make some good points, at least I think they are, on that video with Göbekli Tepe. Go check that out. And the part that irritates me is if the entire complex is man-made, the people who did this weren't much more than cavemen. They could barely be called hunter-gatherers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking cavemen, living off of scraps, kind of thing. I guess technically hunter-gatherers would be the thing, but my point is, a lot more primitive than the people that made Göbekli Tepe, and those people had to invent, as I understand it, had to invent agriculture to do that. So, a long damn time ago. The part I find annoying with this is when they see something like this, mainstream archaeology dismisses it as it's either a hoax, or it's not real, or it's natural phenomena, whatever. But then you find Göbekli Tepe and they go, holy crap, we can't dismiss this. This is so now they're scrambling to find excuses why it fits into their paradigm. They have a story that they're standing by. They're called their paradigm. And rather than allow this new information to alter the paradigm, they're trying to say, well, this is a hoax, or it's not as old as we think, or blah 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 blah, to make it fit their paradigm. When you're doing an investigation, you follow the evidence. You follow the clues. You don't have predestined, an assumption. You don't make assumptions. You follow the evidence and you go where the evidence leads to find out the truth. And the truth is what we need. Okay? If this is true, if this complex here was created by men, that means there was an advanced civilization in this area a long time ago, long before the Ice Age. So, yeah, it's a big deal. And again, it could be all of it could be natural. I don't know. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm saying if it is, somebody got some explaining to do. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.